Today we're going to talk about how to escape the Matrix. And I've got some interesting thoughts on the Matrix, the movies as a modern day mythology I think you're going to like. So, first of all, let's talk about the movies. And I think that they are a modern day mythology, maybe a bit of a prophecy, and definitely something that we can study, understand, and learn from. So if you haven't seen the movies The Matrix, I highly recommend it. They're absolutely phenomenal. Start with the first one. And in The Matrix, the premise is that there are this robot AI that's taken over the world, and most of humanity is plugged into this massive mainframe that the robots control. That they're literally plugged in their bodies. They're in these little cocoons of fluid where they're fed and all their needs are met, and their brains and nervous systems are plugged into what's called the matrix, which is this collaborative sort of computer program that everyone lives their lives in. They don't do anything physically, they're just plugged in as a battery for the machines. And if you've seen the matrix, it's this fight against the machines. The main characters are fighting to try to get the machines to release control over them. But I had an interesting thought when I was watching The Matrix, and it was that actually that the machines are just doing what the people who built them were telling them to do, that they were designed to do. And as the series goes on, they go through this laborious process of unplugging people from the matrix, but most people don't actually want to be unplugged from the Matrix. And there's a spiritual metaphor all the way throughout that series of films that we're going to talk about today, and about how you can unplug yourself from the matrix of this world. And we'll talk about that too. But I think that the first point I want to make is that these machines seem to be the enemy, but the enemy was not the machines at all. In fact, the machines were working to try to help the people to free themselves. That's what the oracle represented. And so it's a really good metaphor for our world today. Like, we all go around living this life, and for many people, we live on an unconscious loop, this loop that we call our lives. You wake up, you do maybe a quick morning routine, you rush off to work, you fight traffic, you stress out through work, you force feed yourself real quick, you go home and have a few hours to yourself to maybe do some chores, and then you wake up and do it all over again. And if that's the life that you're living, it can be very miserable and very meaningless. And I don't live that life, and I teach my students how to live a life of spiritual freedom. So, escaping the matrix is not done by fighting the machine that enslaves you and it keeps you plugged into it. In fact, in the series, the choice to free yourself is your own. And that's the same in this world in reality, that if you want to be free, you do it by choosing to free yourself. And that's the first thing that you need to decide if you want to escape the matrix of this world and live a free life. And it's an inner freedom. It's not done by fighting the world or fighting with people or fighting with governments or fighting with ideas. It's done within yourself. I didn't need to fight with anyone else to liberate myself from the matrix. All I needed to do was make the choice myself. And then from there, I just followed the spiritual journey that unfolded, the hero's journey. And it will happen for you too if you make the choice to free yourself. It's just a choice. And the Matrix movies repeat this over and over and over again, that you have the red pill or the blue pill. Like, what is your choice? And if you choose to take the red pill, then you're going to download a loading program or some sort of tracing program that allows them to unplug you from the matrix. But you really can't go back after that, because then you're unplugged. Or you can take the blue pill, go back to sleep, believe whatever you want. And that's the same the same thing here too. You can decide to be asleep, believe in this delusion, this dream world that everyone agrees to in this world. But the thing that really tipped me off about personally about the dream world that we all live in is people appear to be happy in it. And they work really hard to demonstrate just how happy they are in this dream world. But in reality, beneath the surface, many people are really miserable and suffering. And when I was younger, I saw this and I thought, wow, like I'm supposed to be looking up to all you people who are older, more mature, have spent more experience. Logically, you know more than me, so I should trust your direction. However, I didn't trust their direction because I knew that their direction would lead me to where they are. And I didn't want to be where they are. All these people seemed miserable. And so the people in my immediate reality, my bio family, my extended family, my network, I didn't see anyone who had really what I wanted. And so I went about in life exploring and looking for people who did have what I wanted. And the people who did have what I wanted were spiritual masters. And they all say the same thing, that this world is an illusion. It's a dream we all made up. It's not the real world. We just believe it's the real world. That in fact, we are spiritual beings. And just like the Matrix, we're living in a dream world, a delusion, a sort of computer program. And I've heard some of the top scientists of our day was like a Neil deGrasse Tyson video where he was talking to some like really high level physicist or something. The physicist said that he their team looked into like the fabric of the universe or some component or element of the universe or of space or something. And what they found was computer code. And Neil deGrasse Tyson's like, what? And he said, no, not just any computer code. We found the same kind of computer code that was in your web browser. That it's a browser, and I didn't fully understand this when I was first listening to it, and I don't fully understand the science behind it. But it points to the thing that I do understand spiritually, and that is that this is not the real world that we're living in, and that the real world is a spiritual world that happens within us. And the external world that we see is just a projection of our inner world. So if you want to escape the matrix, escape this rat race, escape the suffering, the misery, the way to do so is not externally. It's not by going out, working really hard, amassing a great fortune, and then buying your way out. Money is not the way to escape the matrix. But when you escape the matrix, you get to have the opportunity to earn significantly more wealth and live a better life while you're in this world. You don't escape the matrix by fighting it. You escape the matrix through a choice. And that choice is to let it go, to no longer invest into it, to no longer try to change it, to no longer try to make it do something for you. You realize that this world is not going to bring you joy and happiness, and that the people of this world are not going to bring you joy and happiness. That the way to find real fulfillment is to find inner fulfillment, spiritual fulfillment. And that is done through a practice, a spiritual practice. And it doesn't really matter what your spiritual practice is, as long as it's a good one and that you practice it consistently over a long period of time. You have to find a spiritual practice, a spiritual path that you resonate with, and then commit completely to it. If it's Buddhism, if it's Christianity, if it's Islam, if it's unionism, if it's just meditation, if it's yoga, if it's Hinduism, whatever your spiritual path, commit completely to it. And don't get into the dogma of it, and don't get into the politics of it. Don't get into the, you know, erudite theology for the purpose of pontificating. You were not made for religion. Religion was made for you. You were not made for spirituality. Spirituality's purpose is to serve you. And make sure that it's serving your purpose to escape the matrix. Or another way to say it is make sure it's serving your purpose for spiritual liberation. And spiritual liberation is a very simple concept. It's a concept of releasing fear and embracing love. Because there are only two choices, just like in the Matrix: to go to sleep, to numb out, to make choices based upon fear, which is to avoid, to get away from, to shirk, or to recoil from love. Or the other choice is to love, to engage, and to embrace. Now, don't get this mistaken for craving. In Buddhism, they talk about craving and aversion. It's neither of these two things. They're two sides of the same coin. It's like, you know, thirst and starvation, or like, I don't know, avoidance. But the way is the middle path of peace, and from there, love can flow and emanate, and that's where you want to head. And this is not a path that's taken externally or materially. It's a path that's taken spiritually and internally. So if you want to escape the matrix, it's a choice that you make, and it's a choice to go within. And I invite you to make that choice right now, if you are done with the suffering of this world, to decide that you are going to no longer try to make this world work for you, but instead that you are going to withdraw into your inner world and focus on that being the place where you put your attention. And this does not mean that you wither and die in the material world, but that you stop believing in the dream world as something that's going to bring you joy. And when you do that, when you make that choice for inner fulfillment, it can express itself outward into this physical reality, but it's an inside out job, not an outside in job. So if you want to make that choice, you can say this affirmation with me, and I'll just channel it right now for us. I choose to free myself from the dream world. Repeat after me if you want, your heart or aloud. I choose to free myself from this dream world and embrace the spiritual journey of my inner world. I choose to listen to the call in the peace in my heart, and I choose to follow the path that love lays out for me within my heart. Very simple. All right. Well, thank you for joining me in this video. I hope it's been helpful for you. God bless, and namaste.